So I think, doing the community events, and we mixed it up. It wasn't always movie nights. We did pancakes, breakfast, and we always mixed it up.
And you hosted it in your backyard?
No, we hosted it like in a community green space. And I'm sure there's HOAs. I'm sure my HOA community, the only people that had issues with it were other realtors. Let's be honest. So they're the only ones that have an issue. And I'm sure they reported me to the HOA, but I'm sure the HOA is like, he's doing good. Like he's bringing people.
You can do it too.
Yeah. And so we did these events, but we've just always.
Did you ask for permission?
I didn't ask for permission. That's part of the key too. Because permission, if you ask for permission, they can tell you no.
I will never forget 8th grade science class. My teacher was it's the only thing I remember of 8th grade science class. He was showing us the Big Bang Theory. And remember those gas things in class?
Yeah.
He plugged it in and he filled a soap bubble. And it was floating around. And then he took a lighter to it and made this giant fireball in the middle of the classroom. And I asked him, I said, "Are you allowed to do that?" He said, "Leo, if you remember one thing about 8th grade science is ask for forgiveness, not permission."
Yes.
All right, I'm sitting here with Kevin. I'm excited to do this podcast. You rode down on the Bright Line to come visit me in Miami from Orlando. The goal of this podcast is to show people how you got to where you're at, right? So, I start every podcast by saying we live in a world where you only see finished products. Instagram is super polished. LinkedIn, everyone's an influencer. Facebook, it's, these very well-written diatribes for the most part. Some are not well-written, but a polished version of who we are. And so, you've had a very successful real estate career, but let's take it back to how you got into real estate before you're the Kevin that everybody knows in Orlando. And let's start there.
Yeah. So most people know me before real estate as I was an educator. I was a teacher. I was an assistant principal. I was a principal. And it was then where kind of life change happened. I was married and I went through a divorce. And it was during that divorce that I kind of realized, one, I was going to be a single dad. And two, maybe education wasn't going in the direction I wanted it to go in. And so in 2010, I got my real estate license, joined a mom and pop brokerage. And
by the way, did you know that real educators and nurses and waiters are some of the most successful real estate agents?
I tell everyone, educators are the best real estate agents because if we can convince a kid to do their homework and stand in line and do all those things, and then of course have to convince the parents that their kid is not the golden angel that they think they are, then we can sell houses. And so it's all script and role play. They just didn't realize that. So, but in 2010, I got my license and I still taught. So I was still a part-time real estate agent. But it wasn't until 2014 I joined Keller Williams, and that's where I really feel like real estate changed, not just my life, but my wife's life and really like our family, because we grew very quickly. My first full year in real estate, I sold about $3.5 million. But the following year, then it went to 10, and then it went to 15, and then it went to 20. And then slowly we started adding agents, and our best year was 2023. We sold 95 million. The goal was 100, and we had one bad month. September 2023 will always be that one month. So it's been great to just kind of progress from educator, to real estate agent, to team leader. And, I love talking real estate with a lot of the young agents, because I know that I was a first-time agent too. I wrote my first contract horribly wrong. And so to be able to come alongside someone and, help guide them as well.
So when you joined KW, which by the way, I grew up in the KW system for 16 years, so I actually have nothing but wonderful memories and lessons learned. What happened when it became serious for you? You went from it was a part-time thing to becoming a pretty productive agent.
It was probably in 2016. That's when, as a solo agent, I sold about 10 million, and that's when most commissions were paying around 3 apples per, and so. That was a good living. That was a whole lot better than a teaching salary and what my wife was making. So my wife actually left her job in February of 2016. And we just realized that, one, we can change our life. Like, what do we want to do? And then it also gave us the opportunity to give back to the community. We kind of built our brand on farming and giving back to the schools and to the hospitals. And so, but 2016, I think, was that year that it was like, man, we can do this. Like, it's not just a pray that we have a closing this month and this is extra money so we can go out to dinner. This is, this is our 9 to 5. This is our life. This is our brand, and this is our business. And so 2016, I think, was that pivotal year.
And what do you think happened? Was it kind of that overnight success story that took 6 years in the making, or was there a mental decision that you and your wife made? Where were you like, okay, we're going to make a run of this?
So October, it's crazy. I know the dates. So October 2015, I told my wife, I said, look, I'm not going to make 100 phone calls a week. That's just not my temperament. It's just not my style. And so, but I said, what if we did a movie night and we invited everyone from the neighborhood to come? And so, she said yes. So I bought a projector and I bought an outdoor movie screen for $500. We already had the speakers, and it was just one of those things. We invited everyone and we told everyone, be there at 6:30. And like 6:25, no one's there. And we're like, oh man, this is just gonna bomb. And it was like a commercial where they're like, everyone just comes, they're pulling their kids in the wagons, they got food, and we actually had snacks and popcorn and things like that. So it was October 15. And the interesting thing is no one called me to buy or sell a house after that thing. So we did it again in November.
And you didn't ask anybody either.
I didn't ask. I mean, we took their information, so we captured information so we could invite them to the next event. So we did that for 3 months, and realistically, even after calling, texting, we didn't get any business out of it. But it was okay because at this point, we're getting to know our neighbors. So we really enjoyed doing it. January 2016, it was cold, and we said we should stop. We shouldn't do it. We did it anyway. We got hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts. And after the movie night, I picked up my first listing in the neighborhood.
And so how many was it before you got the first?
It was the fourth movie night. So fourth movie night, we pick up our first listing. Next month, we pick up 2 more listings. And this is beginning.
How close were you to giving up on that strategy?
We were cold in January when we did that movie night. It was very cold. And but the interesting thing is there was an agent that kind of dominated our community from like 2001 until 2016. And so there was always kind of that fear of kind of, stepping on his toes or stepping into his territory. And, but slowly, probably by the end of 2016, maybe beginning of 2017, we had market share in the neighborhood. We continued to do community events every single month from October 2015 until COVID told us we couldn't do it anymore.
So let's pause right there because I actually love that, right? Mm-hmm. I think and I say this from stages because I want people to hear me say it, so I'm going to say it again, and I keep repeating myself. The beautiful thing about real estate is you can find a way to do the business that is aligned with who you are, mm-hmm. right? Like I've said on stages for many years, I'd rather play in traffic than cold call, right? Mm-hmm. Like I get an allergic reaction in my DNA to mm-hmm. the rejection of it. Mm-hmm. And it's not good or bad, just is, right? Like, but I'm also super comfortable. Like, you can give me a microphone and put me in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And tell me to freestyle for 45 minutes, as long as it's like a business crowd, right? And I'm not a stand-up comedian, but it could be a bunch of roofers or influencers or people in the health industry. And I could talk about basic lead gen conversion, lifetime value, right? And I think statistically, that's up somewhere with death of biggest fears for humans. So it's also important to understand who you are and what you're gifted at. But you have found a way to do it that's aligned with you and your wife's personality. So talk to me about that, because I think that's not talked about enough.
Yeah. So I think doing the community events, and we mixed it up. It wasn't always movie nights. It was, we did pancakes, breakfast, and we always mixed it up.
And you hosted it in your backyard?
No, we hosted it like in a community green space. And I'm sure there's HOAs. I'm sure my HOA community, the only people that had issues with it were other realtors. Let's be honest. So they're the only ones that have an issue. And I'm sure they reported me to the HOA, but I'm sure the HOA is like, he's doing good. Like, he's bringing people.
You can do it too.
Yeah. And so we did these events, but we've just always.
Did you ask for permission?
I didn't ask for permission. That's part of the key too. Because permission, if you ask for permission, they can tell you no.
I will never forget 8th grade science class. My teacher was it's the only thing I remember of 8th grade science class. He was showing us the Big Bang Theory. And remember those gas things in class?
Yeah.
He plugged it in and he filled a soap bubble and it was floating around. And then he took a lighter to it and made this giant fireball in the middle of the classroom. And I asked him, I said, "Are you allowed to do that?" He said, "Leo, if you remember one thing about 8th grade science is ask for forgiveness, not permission."
Yes. So, but I think, for my wife and I, like part of like who we are, we love to give back, and so it wasn't just doing the community events. It was now taking profits from these events or the houses that we sold. And now we're going into the community schools. We're providing breakfast and for the teachers. And, as our business grew, we even rented out a Mexican restaurant and we did a happy hour for teachers so that the teachers could come. So we've just always had like a heart of giving. Like my wife has a tremendous heart for single moms because she was a single mom. And she is always like, if she sees someone, like the other night we were out at dinner and she says, "We're paying for that lady's dinner." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" She goes, whether she was a single mom or not, it was a mom with her son. And that took her back to a place. And so my wife has a very soft heart when it comes to, single parents. And so, I think real estate and the consistency of farming has given us the opportunity that if we want to bless others, we can bless others.
So talk me through, you started and then it became, market share. How did that progress? Because, 3, 10, 20, 100, that's a huge jump. And that normally isn't the progression.
Well, COVID helped. I think when COVID happened and they shut down the world, this is just my opinion. I haven't seen any research on it. Most real estate agents just kind of shut down with the world. Well, me and Richard, who was, my buyer's agent at the time, he and I, we were committed to making phone calls and they weren't real estate phone calls. They were, "Hey, Leo, how can we help you? Do you guys need toilet paper? Because we're the ones that bought it all. We got the TP. We've got water."
You were the whole problem.
We were, man. We had it all. And so like, how can we help you and support you? And then all of a sudden when the housing market opened back up and interest rates dropped, we had already been in contact with these people for 6 months, and how can we support them? So it was kind of like, "Hey, we choose you. Even though my best friend's a real estate agent, we're choosing you guys because you stayed in touch." So I think, it was the consistency. And then when the earth shut down, we just continued to stay in touch with people. We just couldn't do it face to face. It was calling them and sending them video. We're big video texters and just reaching out to people. But I think, part of the escalation was, we climbed, Richard, when it was just Richard and I and my wife, I think our best year together pre-COVID was around 25 million, just the two of us. My wife's not in production. And then the COVID year, we jumped to 44 million. I had a coach. My coach was very adamant that we sold 15 homes a month. And, I'll never forget, I think we were behind. And so the second quarter of 2021, my coach is like, "Well, you guys got to sell 55 homes the second quarter." I called Richard up and I was like, "Hey, Richard, man, we got to, I don't know how to tell you this, but we got to sell 55 homes. It's just me and him." And Richard's like, "Man," and this is a guy who loves competition. Like he loves to be challenged. And he finally just, after us talking back and forth for a few minutes, he's just like, "Man, just F it. Let's do it." And we sold 57 homes that quarter.
Isn't that wild?
Just he and I. Yeah. Because mentally, like
that was the number.
That was the number. We knew like, this is what we're going to do. And so that was it was good. The COVID year, obviously not everyone, but most everyone flourished in real estate. So, but that propelled us. And then we've just continued to grow.
And tell me how you transitioned from community-centric in-person events to no events. Was that a conscious decision or was it very intuitive to just stay in touch with people?
So I think it was very intuitive to stay in touch with people, but because I think we were already doing it anyways. Like, I'm the type of guy that if I have a memory with you on my Facebook, I'm going to take a picture of that. I'm going to copy the picture. I'm going to say, "Hey, Leo, remember that this was 8 years ago. This was awesome." Or if it's your birthday, we're going to send you a video text and we're going to sing happy birthday, but we're going to personalize it. It's not one of those generic birthday videos that realtors are sending out. "Hey, realtor, stop sending out the generic birthday videos." It's very personalized. And so I think we were already doing some of that stuff. So it was just easy to take it to the, just be consistent. But I remember when my wife and I, we were at the beach and I was like, "Man, we should do Zoom bingo with the teachers." Because it was Teacher Appreciation Week and teachers did not feel appreciated in 2020 because of COVID. It was Cinco de Mayo coming up and she's like, "Yeah, that'll never work." So I reached out to a few principals. I said, hey, if we did like a margarita Cinco de Mayo Zoom bingo and we got prizes, do you think your teachers would do it? And they're like, we don't know. Well, there was probably about 400 teachers in the community, and we probably had about 250 do Zoom bingo, and everyone had a margarita. And we stayed in touch. We did Zoom bingo, and we did Zoom giveaways. We had businesses, because the businesses were fighting to stay open too. So I'm like, hey, we've already been promoting your business pre-COVID. Give us some gift cards or give us some meal packages that we can give away. And so now we're doing raffles and we're giving away stuff. And it feels good to give away stuff, and it feels even better when the businesses are donating it to you versus going out. So we just always stayed in front of people, and we continue to do that.
Awesome. There's some good nuggets. Now, give us some tactical stuff. I know that you've been very systematic throughout your process and with inbound mailers and with a very specific call to action. Talk to us about that.
So with COVID, it kind of just shifted everything because not everyone still wants to do face-to-face. And I don't think it's COVID. I just think people they're going to go out and they don't want to come to a movie night anymore for whatever reason. Like we saw those numbers decline. So, we shifted to a lot of online giveaways to capture information. Of course, as we capture information, now we have email addresses, we have cell phone numbers. And the cool thing is when we do online giveaways, we're asking them for all their contact information, but then we're also saying, check a box if you want us to give you a call for more information on buying a home, selling a home. Do you need a new roof? Because one of our sponsors is a roofer. Do you need information on retirement? Well, if they check a box, they're giving us permission to call. And so
very important nowadays with TCPA.
It is. So they check the box. They're giving us permission to call. And then on top of that, they're giving us their email address. And so now they're giving us permission to email. And so now we take that and now we have our weekly emails that go out. And so with the program that we use, we're able to track, I know who's unsubscribing, I know who's deleting it, I know who's opening and all that. But if they're clicking on a hyperlink for one of our listings, for one of our businesses, I can go in there and I can see who's clicking on it. Well, if we have a new listing, and let's just say we have 400 clicks. Well, if I go in there and Leo clicked on it once, I'm probably going to follow up with you, but you're not a priority when I see that Joe's clicked on it 10 times. I'm probably going to pick up the phone and call Joe. Hey, Joe, I saw you clicked on our link 10 times. When can we set you up for a time to go see this home? Or walk them through that process. So it's just being a little bit more intentional, but just in a different way.
And talk to me about some of the strategies where you do farm, because you've been a very successful farming agent.
So we still farm. I think a lot of our farming is just different.
That's with the part I'm trying to drive towards.
Okay, so even like with the online, so we do a lot of video now, but it's a lot of our farming now is supporting the local businesses. A lot of the businesses are still hurting. Here we are, 3 years after COVID. And so, I have a t-shirt that says support local, and I run a Facebook page you and I just grabbed local food versus going to a big chain before we did this podcast.
Yeah,
we just went to a very local Peruvian restaurant. And so best water I've had all day. And so, but it was, but now we're going into these local businesses and we're supporting them. But it's almost kind of like we've become the hyper-local expert in our area. And it's not just about supporting the restaurants or supporting the schools, or it's just that we're doing it. And it's interesting how some people say, man, I don't know how you do what you do. I was like, well, because I schedule it out. We record. Like today, I know you're recording multiple podcasts. It's going to look like you're doing, but you schedule it out, and it makes for just a really good that we're just very in touch. So, but running a community Facebook page, there's probably 40,000 people that live in my community. I run a Facebook page with 25,000 of those residents on there. So that helps when I can talk about, hey, our soccer team is playing in the state championship today, and or that this is happening. Tomorrow's the art fest at this Saturday at the town center.
And in that Facebook group, do you ever talk about real estate, or do you keep it completely community based and driven?
I would say it's about 95% community based and driven.
And that 5%, how do you do it tactfully so it's not?
I don't promote myself, and I don't promote my business. What I do promote is our giveaways and our activities. So like when we do Teacher Appreciation Week, we want any real estate agent can go into a school once a year and say thank you. Well, we've already been going into the schools for 3, 4, 5, 6 times by the time Teacher Appreciation Week comes around. So now we're doing a happy hour. Well, we want them to sign up so we know how many people are going to show up to the happy hour. So I promote our online events. We do a gratitude of giving every year in November. This year we gave away over $10,000 worth of gift cards, tickets, prizes, all donated. Like Kevin didn't spend a dime, but it was all donated from the local businesses. So we're giving the love to the businesses. They're excited because they're getting on our page for free. I mean, it's costing them a gift card or what have you. And then, the people are excited because they want to win. And so, but to give away $10,000 worth of stuff was pretty awesome.
Oh, no, absolutely. And there's a concept that I'd not come up with. I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk. I heard him say once, marketers ruin everything. Mm-hmm. And in that vein, what works, like if you get double-digit open rates or response rates, marketers do more of it. Mm-hmm. And then over time, we become numb to that.
Right.
Since you've started, and again, I haven't heard you say anything that is easy to get numb to because it's not super automated. What you're doing is very personalized. Mm. What have you seen that maybe worked once that's working less and you're pivoting? And what's working today that is new in your arsenal, but you're kind of getting that, to take the analogy of like when email marketing started, it was like 68% open rate, right? Now you're lucky if you get single digits.
Yeah. So I think the in-person we've seen a decline in that. We were filling up restaurants, we were filling up, our fields where we were doing community events. So I think that, we put American flags in front of all the houses in my neighborhood, which is about 1,200 homes. And the first couple of years, everyone raved about it. Now I got more complaints this year about it than I did, people saying just, hey, thank you. Our neighborhood looks great. And so I think a lot of that in person has kind of taken a back seat, but I also think it's because we were doing it for so long. And then there was a gap in COVID that now, when you pick it back up, people are like, yeah, I'm good. I've been to your events before. My kids are older or, and so for us personally, doing those type of events, that's where we've seen the decline. So how did we pivot with that? Well, we started doing online giveaways. I shared with you at lunch, I have Orlando Magic season tickets. I have really good season tickets. And so if I can give away 2 Orlando Magic versus New York Knicks, Miami Heat, Golden State Warriors, those are huge. And I'm going to get 1,000+ people sign up for an online giveaway.
And do you actually attend the game with them because they're near you?
I have. So because we have 6. So ironically, we did during our November, our gratitude giveaway, it was to the Portland Trailblazers. Ironically, the 2 couples that won, I found out after the fact that we go to church together. And the one person that was supposed to be my +1 was my pastor. And he had to cancel on me last second, which would have been cool for them to sit with the pastor at the basketball game. But if I can attend with them, then I attend with them. Like we're going to be doing a giveaway for the Boston Celtics last home game of the season, which means you're going to get free stuff. But I'm going to be there and I'll be sitting there with them, and I'll have my nephew with me, and we'll be able to interact and connect with them. And I think it's just neat because a lot of times they'll see the person that they see on video, they see on Facebook, and they never really get a chance to sit down and just watch a game and have a beer and just have a good time.
Like this as well, right?
Yeah. People don't know. Show up early. I showed up 30 minutes early for our appointment, and you just happen to be going to lunch, and you're like, hop in. And so I got to have lunch with you and just hear more about your story. And so I think that's been one of the things that we've really seen is like the online giveaways. Because, when they're in person, they're more inclined to give you fake information.
Interesting.
Hey, my email is, kevin@joseph.com. Not, it's there's just always that human element, but you want to win Celtics tickets, or you want to win, we gave away Bryan Adams tickets. We gave away tickets to go see, cause our tickets, we buy the tickets for the concerts in Orlando. So we've given those away, and people want to sign up.
And I think one of the most interesting things you shared, whether it was on this recording or at lunch, and I'll kind of mix them together, is you actually aren't even paying for them, right? A lot of times you've been promoting and cross-promoting other businesses and other professionals in the market, and you've been able to get them to contribute.
Yeah, well, I think it's a win-win because they see that we're going to promote them on the Facebook pages, on those social media channels, and we shot video in those. There's 2 big Mexican restaurants in my community, and I know both guys equally well. but just one of them just happens to be closer to my house. So we've hosted real estate masterminds. We've done Mother's Day brunches. We've done happy hours for teachers. So we've done all these things to promote the businesses that if I called Gerardo up right now and I said, hey, Gerardo, I need $100 worth of gift cards. He'd say, do you want them in 10s, 20s, or do you want 425s? And he'd probably even offer me more because he knows that I'm not using them for me. I'm going to use those to bless others, which in return, if you have a $25 gift card and you take your wife, you're probably going to spend $100
Minimum.
minimum, hands down. And so the $25 is just to get you into the place and hopefully create a new customer.
Yeah, customer
so they see
acquisition
that.
cost.
Yeah. So I've always kind of said, we're a marketing company. As far as the Kendrick team, we're a marketing team, real estate team, and real estate's our platform. And so we want to promote others, and through promoting others, real estate flows.
And how do you try and test stuff? Because I think that's the one thing I keep hearing. It's like the amount of people I've heard say, oh, I used to do this, then the market shifted, interest rates shifted, COVID happened, and then it was like, I'm out of business. You haven't slowed down. Or like, what strategy are you testing, if you will?
So we really haven't tested. We're farming. We're just farming in different ways. And so we really haven't shifted from that. We're not a cold caller, or we're not door knockers. We love doing open houses. We love doing community events, and we work with our past customers in our sphere, and that's where the bulk of our business comes from. We're not, we're not paying for leads, and so I think we've been very consistent. I don't think we've tried to throw something at the wall to see if it sticks. We did throw postcards once at the wall to see if it sticks, and we spent $16,000, but we picked up about $5 million worth of listings. I was like, man, we probably should keep doing that. We didn't, but we're in the process of getting back to it, And so, I think we stopped because we were coming up on political season with the election, and people were just going to discard our stuff anyways. So, we've been very blessed to the point that we've never just let's throw it up against the wall and let's see if it sticks. Because if you're going to throw it up against the wall, you got to do it for 6 months minimum. Minimum. And so, like farming, if we would have stopped in January, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you right now. But because we kept going, we turned a movie screen and a projector into, almost $100 million business.
That's about as good as an ending as I can think. Kevin, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making the journey down from Orlando. And I look forward to seeing you at your event. And I'll probably see you at EXPCon before I come speak at your event.
EXPCon in Orlando in December 2025.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.